Hey, it's Jim from Aampe, and today we're going to talk about how to write more effective triggered campaigns. See, when it comes to CRM campaign effectiveness, triggered campaigns like abandoned carts, subscription renewals, or lesson and workout completed messages typically get the highest engagement and conversion levels of all messages sent. That said, there are a few small tweaks that can greatly increase your campaign effectiveness and engagement levels. Here's how you do it. Okay, before we can write a good triggered campaign, we need to understand what events we should trigger on. So in AMP, we allow customers to import all of their events. We import every single one of your events and we analyze all of your events together. So you don't have to pick and choose which ones are most important. That said, one feature that we share, and I'm showing it on the spreadsheet, but it will be available in the tool shortly, is propensity scores tied to each individual event. So you can see we have all of your events here, and I'll explain what these scores are in different columns with different percentages. So what these columns show is the actual event names, which you can see here on the far left. And then up top, we have users who are in their first day, their first week, their first month, and older than a month. And what these percentages show is the likelihood that a user will still be around in a month if they do one of these events. So, for example, if they click share run, then users in their first day are 91% likely to be still in the app a month later. And you can see this continues for users in their first week, first month, and older than a month. Similarly, you can see for things like delete account that if a user deletes account on the first day, there's only a 7% chance we're going to see them next month. So while these dark blue items are a high indicator of retention, these events that have the more red in them are indicators of churn. It's also worth noting that there are some things like showing a new user a what's new modal that have a very low chance of retention or a very high chance of turn for new users that don't affect other users in the same way. So if you show a what's new modal to somebody on their very first day, there's only a 14% chance that they are going to come back into the app after a month's time. Whereas users who are more mature, right, who have been with the app for a month or older than a month, aren't as affected by a what's new modal. So that said, we are going to pick our events using this data. Most CRM teams we see pick events that are just the common ones that you'd expect, like abandoned carts or purchases or things like that. We're going to do it based on a propensity analysis because we want to encourage people to stay and want to discourage them from leaving. So I'm going to focus on a couple of these events. The ones I'm going to focus on are, let me hide these, the share run press, which has a very high correlation with retention. And this Apple Watch battery level change, which has also a very high correlation with retention. So this should make sense. If you share a run after you've done a workout, it indicates that you're putting yourself out there. You're likely going to get encouragement. You're also more accountable, right? Because if you stop sharing, then people are saying, "Hey, if you're keeping up with your running," right? So it makes sense that hitting share run is going to be something that correlates quite strongly with retention. Similarly, if you've connected your Apple Watch to a fitness app, it shows that you're integrating the app with other areas of your life. Now you can get notifications on your watch as well as your run, as well as on your phone, and your that whole ecosystem is kind of running. So we're going to focus on those two. Really quick, switching into AMP, you'll see that we import all of your events. So this particular app has almost 300 events, and you can see them all here, and you can track them over time and see levels of engagement and things like that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start building a couple triggers with a couple of these events. So the first trigger I'm going to create is around that share run, like we talked about. So I'm going to hey share run pressed. So we want to find a user who has not pressed share run but who has completed a workout. So, workout completed. All right. So equals, all right. I should say greater than one. So if a user has done more than one workout in the past week, I should say greater than zero. If a user has done at least one workout in the last week, but they haven't shared their run, I would like to add that as a trigger. And then as an exit event, I will do that share run. So if the user actually does share the run, then I can stop sending this messaging and I'll call it share, encourage, share. Perfect. Now I've created my trigger. I went ahead and actually created another trigger for the Apple Watch, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is connect your Apple Watch workout uploaded. So that's the event that I chose. Again, you have access to the full catalog. That's the one I chose. So if it equals 0, it shows that you haven't uploaded your workout to your Apple Watch in the last month. Therefore, I should send you this message until you have your Apple workout uploaded. Now we're going to go write the messages. All right, so I am in my messaging catalog and I'm going to quick create and I'm going to do a push notification, but we could do any of the options here. It's all fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call this encourage. We're going to call this connect your Apple Watch. I'll do it. Connect Apple Watch. And I'll select my trigger and I'll select that connect Apple Watch trigger. So now I can actually write my messages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a generic thing. I'm going to say connect your Apple Watch. And I'll put a little watch emoji here. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add something to this message, a body, and I've already pre-written it. So do you know that connecting your Apple Watch increases your chances of sticking with your workout by 92%? So I think this speaks to somebody who is focused on accountability. So with AMP, you have this option. I can hit value proposition, and now I can call this somebody who's focused on accountability, for example. Okay, but let's add another option because not everybody's motivated by accountability. Some people are more competitive, right? So maybe we can say connecting your Apple Watch allows us to track your timing more accurately. What I'll do is I'll say beat your best time. Beat your best time. Connecting your Apple Watch allows us to um, track your timing more accurately. And I will call this one competitive, right? So this is a competitive runner versus an accountable runner. So now you can see I've created two versions similar to an A/B test, and there's nothing stopping me from creating a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth version for all of these different things. So people need encouragement, or they want accountability or competitiveness, or they're looking to increase their endurance, expert guidance, kind of all that stuff. I can add messages that talk to each of those. Okay. I can also add images and deep links so I can send them to specific parts in the app, for example, when you connect your Apple Watch. Okay, so I created another message. This one is encouraging sharing, which we talked about, encouraging pushing that share button. And you can see the message right here. And I have a bunch of different alternates that you can see appealing to competitiveness. So, can your friends keep up? Share your workouts and find out. Encouragement, awesome job on your workout, share it with the world. Accountability, users who publicly share their workouts are 85% more likely to stick with them, right? So now I have all these different messages written, and you can kind of see a preview of all of them. So what I can do is I can skip ahead to this final check section. And if I like what I see, I can start sending. There we go. Now our message is live. But wait a minute. Where do we schedule our send times and set our user journeys? If you look carefully, you may have noticed that I didn't actually set specific send times or build user journeys. This is another key advantage of AMP. You dodge the dreaded orchestration problem. So here's what I mean. According to CleverTap, 28% of users uninstall apps because they get too many ads or too many notifications, and the cause of this is typically poor orchestration. What that means, if we look at these two use cases, so one of them was connecting your watch, and one of them was completing a workout but not hitting share. Both of these campaigns likely already apply to users who are new to the app, right? If you're new, you may not have connected your watch or you may not have to hit share yet. You might not know the functions available. They may also be applicable to users who completed a run. So you may have completed a run but not connected your watch. Similarly, you've completed a run and you haven't shared. So those two events, being new and completing a run, might also be triggered campaigns, right? So what happens is this user might now be eligible for like a thank you for signing up, welcome to the app, a great job on your run message, and add your Apple Watch message now, and to hit that share button message all at the same time. So this generally is what happens. Users become applicable to all these different campaigns at once, and they start to get all these messages at once, which is overwhelming for them and ends up turning them off, and they end up uninstalling the app. Therefore, when you write messages in AMP, our AI takes care of the message timing, sending the right message to the user at the right time when they're most likely to engage. The first thing we do is we look for what time a user is most likely to respond to a message. And then we go through your catalog of all the available campaigns that they can apply for and apply the one that is most effective and applicable for them at that moment. Of course, if you'd like to set your own message scheduling time because you have a certain event or a certain thing that's only available at a very specific time window, you can do that here under the scheduling section. Instead of using our automated scheduling, you could do controlled message scheduling and pick your message send time and date. All right, so how can you increase the effectiveness of your triggered campaigns? Here are 3 ways that AMP helps. First, using propensity scores, we help you make sure you're focused on the right events with the highest propensity to lead to your desired actions, whether that be retentions, subscriptions, purchases, or something else. Secondly, we help you write messages that effectively appeal to each individual user's desires and motivations and make sure the right message gets to the right user. Thirdly, you can use AMP's AI to orchestrate your message, ensuring each user gets the most applicable message at the right time and they don't get bombarded with multiple messages from multiple campaigns. If you would like to see how this works and how it looks in action, please drop us a note at hello@amp.com.